Today, we're talking about someone who didn't just break the rules. She completely rewrote the rulebook to do something impossible. We're talking about the woman who became the Emperor of China, Wu Zetian. And to really get your head around what she pulled off, you need to start with just one number. This one. Just one. Think about that. 3,000 years of dynasties, emperors, and cosmic mandates, and only one woman ever held the ultimate title of Huangdi. So the real question isn't just what she did, it's how on earth did she do it? What was her playbook? Well, her story doesn't start with a giant army or a massive rebellion. Nope. It begins with a quiet, very calculated climb up what was probably the most dangerous ladder in the world, the imperial court. This is where she learned the game. Just look at this rise. She gets to court when she's only 14. Then, when the emperor dies, she's supposed to be shipped off to a monastery for the rest of her life. For pretty much anyone else, that's game over, a total political dead end. But not Wu. See, she'd already made a very smart alliance with the next guy in line, Gaozong. He calls her back from exile, and in just 5 years, she outplays the reigning empress and everyone else to become empress consort herself. That's not luck, that's strategy. And here's the thing you have to understand. She wasn't just another consort. Her father made sure she was highly educated, which was unusual. But her real secret weapon was her experience as a secretary to the first emperor. She wasn't just observing power from a distance. She was in the room, reading the documents, seeing exactly how the machinery of government worked. That gave her an insight, a strategic advantage that nobody else in her position had. Okay, so she's the Empress, but for Wu Zetian, that was just level 1. The real goal was to go from being next to the throne to being the real power behind it. And her big opportunity came when Emperor Gaozong had a massive stroke. She was ready. And this is where things get truly wild. The court starts calling the imperial couple the heir Shang, the two majesties. I mean, that was completely unheard of. It was basically a public announcement that she was an equal partner in rule. So while Gaozong was still officially the emperor, everybody knew Wu Zetian was the one running the day-to-day operations of this massive empire. And she used that power to completely remake the government. Seriously, this was a masterclass. She pushed out the powerful old money families who had run things for generations. In their place, she brought in scholars who owed their careers and their loyalty entirely to her. She even created her own private brain trust, the Scholars of the Northern Gate, to write policies that fit her agenda, creating a kind of government within the government.
So she's ruling in all but name. But to take that final, impossible step, to become empress herself, she had to overcome her biggest obstacle. It wasn't an army or a political rival. It was the entire belief system of China, which had absolutely no place for a female ruler. She couldn't just take the throne. She had to convince the universe it belonged to her.
The mandate of heaven. This was the bedrock of everything. It was the idea that heaven itself chooses the ruler. But here's the catch. It was a strictly guys-only club. Power was meant to pass through the male line. The system had zero provision for a woman. So what Wu Zetian had to do was pull off an incredible ideological magic trick, create a whole new mandate just for her. And this is how she did it. She didn't just tweak the old system, she replaced the entire foundation. The Tang Dynasty was all about Confucianism and Taoism. She switched the state religion to Buddhism, which very conveniently had prophecies about a female world ruler. The old emperors claimed they were descended from a great philosopher, while she claimed she was the literal reincarnation of the future Buddha. She was building an entirely new reality, brick by brick, that made her rules seem like destiny. I mean, the sheer audacity of this is just breathtaking. She literally invented a new character in the Chinese language just for her name, Zhao. You see it here. It combines the symbols for the sun and the moon ruling together over the sky. She was basically embedding herself into the fabric of the cosmos. She wasn't just ruling the world, she was redefining it. But propaganda and divine right can only take you so far. To secure her new dynasty, Wu Zetian also had to get her hands dirty. This is the dark side of her playbook, where she unleashed a brutal and terrifyingly efficient system of control. She built a full-blown surveillance state. We're talking secret police everywhere. She had these copper boxes installed in the capital so anyone could secretly snitch on their neighbors or on government officials. She promoted ruthless ministers like Lai Junshen, who literally wrote the book, a manual, in fact, on how to fabricate charges and torture people for confessions. And that old royal family, the Li clan, they were hunted down and wiped out.
And if you want one story that perfectly captures the chilling logic of this time, listen to this. Her secret police chief, Zhou Zheng, is accused of treason himself. His colleague, another ruthless official, asks him for advice on a tough suspect. How do I get him to confess? Zhou says, oh, easy. Put him in a big urn and light a fire around it. His colleague nods, pulls out the arrest warrant for Zhou, and says, excellent idea. Please, step into the urn. Yeah, Zhou confessed to everything on the spot.
But here's the paradox. While all this terror was happening at home, Wu Zetian was also an incredibly effective commander-in-chief. Under her rule, the empire actually grew stronger and expanded. She finished the conquest of the Korean Peninsula, she pushed Chinese power deep into Central Asia, and she recaptured crucial territories along the Silk Road. She was both a tyrant and a remarkably competent ruler.
Her reign finally came to an end in 705. Old and ailing, she was forced to abdicate in a palace coup. She died later that year, leaving behind one of the most complex, most fiercely debated legacies in all of history.
For centuries, the official story, written by male Confucian historians, painted her as a monster, a cruel, power-hungry usurper who ruled through witchcraft. But today, historians are looking at the evidence and seeing a very different picture. They see a brilliant administrator who broke the power of a corrupt aristocracy, promoted people based on talent, not birth, and actually laid the groundwork for one of China's greatest golden ages that followed her. And in the end, she left us with the ultimate mystery. At her tomb, there's a huge monument dedicated to her husband, covered in text praising his accomplishments. And right next to it, she erected a monument for herself, a giant 8-meter-tall stone tablet that's completely, utterly blank. Why would she do that? Was it a sign of humility? An admission that her actions were too controversial to judge? Or was it the ultimate power move, a sign of such supreme confidence that she knew no single inscription could ever capture her story? She left it open for us to decide. Tyrant? Visionary? Feminist? Monster? She left her story for us to write. So the only question left is, what would you put on her monument?